have been.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no moon.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabunker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Of course, we're going to talk about the latest episode, Part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi that just dropped, I guess, yesterday, Kenton. And now, what's your routine? Is it a morning routine for you now, or are you waiting till the end of the day?
Oh, I get up. No, I get up in the morning. I do not want to be spoiled, and I would be. Every single time, I know I would for a fact, just based on how the day plays out, that I would be spoiled. So I gotta get on it. How about you?
Yeah, I'm up early. It's not the first thing I watch, but it's pretty close. I do still like my Rhett and Link in the morning. My first the
what? What's that?
Rhett and Link. It's a morning. It's like a YouTube morning show. They do a fun little morning show. I've been watching it for years. But then shortly after I've had my breakfast and my coffee, I'll watch my episode of Obi-Wan, and it's a shorter episode this week. It was only 35 minutes, I'd say.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah, 35 minutes. And honestly, it's not my favorite episode, I would say. I didn't watch it a second time. I didn't really feel an urge to watch it a second time.
I didn't watch it a second time either. It's a short episode. It's more like a Mandalorian mission episode.
Yeah, I would
where
say
there's
so,
like
yeah.
a standalone mission. I'm not against a standalone mission. Interestingly, I've seen, it goes by at a quick pace, but I've seen lots of people who really don't like this episode online. Some with some very interesting constructive criticism, and some with whatever, the usual, I never liked it anyway kind of stuff. And right before this podcast, my friend texted me from Texas, who usually he's very critical about Star Wars. And surprise, he loved this last episode. So you just don't know. You don't know. People are going to wreck. So I thought, like you, I thought it was I thought it was fine. A good episode. Got us someplace interesting. It had one money shot for sure. One money scene for sure. And I'm ready to go to the next place now.
Yeah.
Okay? Like it's a bridge. It was sort of a bridge.
Right, I agree. Yes, not a ton of stuff happens in this episode, but we do see some more. Like it starts with this cool sequence of like Obi-Wan in the bacta tank. Like is that the scene you're talking about?
No, but that is a good scene for sure. Yeah. We're cross-cutting between Kenobi in the bacta tank and Vader in the bacta tank.
Right, and we can see like they're like I think it's pretty clear they're sharing a connection through the Force. Like, this is them. They're both in the tank. This is what happens when you both get into the back of the tank at the same time. Embarrassing sometimes, but you never know when the other friend's going to get in there. Anyway, but yeah, it's really good. And so you see more detail of Vader's scarring and his stump and all the gross details. And Obi-Wan's also got scarring, but he's not quite as bad. He's got a little bit on his side, and that's pretty much it. He's not like super. They seem to be making a bigger deal out of it than he doesn't seem to be hurt that much, but she's very worried.
Right. And I was a little concerned that bacta is becoming like the Force in Star Wars, where it can do anything as required. But it does explain why when Darth Vader takes off his mask in Return of the Jedi, why his skin is so smooth.
Well, it's wrinkly. It's also wrinkly from just soaking in the water for so long. He's probably, if he had hands, they would be prune hands, right? So
that is a great opening shot. Yes. Opening sequence, I should say, to the show.
I agree. And Obi-Wan wakes up. He gets out of the back to tank. He explains they took him away. They saved him after she, brought the fire up and separated them. And now we're going to cut back to. I'm watching it, by the way, so I have this up on my screen so we can follow along. Now we're going to cut back to Leia, who is at the Inquisitor base with what's her name again? Sorry, I blanked on her name.
It's either Reva or Reva.
It's Reva. Yes.
Do they call her Reva on the show?
Yes.
Has her name been spoken?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm still here. I'm listening to podcasts, and it's like a 50-50 split between Reva and Reva.
I don't know. Maybe they haven't said it in the show, but I've definitely heard Reva said in official capacities, like in interviews and stuff. So I think that's Reva. And I also think they might just call her third sister in the show. They might just, I don't know if they've actually said it. Anyway, she's trying to, what is she trying to find out from Leia here? She's trying to interrogate Leia? I don't understand. Like, she wants to find out where the rest of the path goes, like where all these Jedi go when they go through this tunnel. And how is Leia going to know that?
No, I guess that was the purpose of the interrogation, to find out what Leia knows. Leia's got, and once again, I think that young actor playing Leia is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when she says a line that could easily be clunky, like "Are we having a staring contest?" when she says that, it's like it's funny. She pulls it off. Like she's very good with that kind of stuff. So I like that. But I agree with you. It's a little. I think maybe we needed a little more Reva character development to understand the position that she's coming from. It's a bit confusing for sure.
I'm just wondering.
Sorry, go ahead.
Where does she get the idea that Leia knows all this, and how? Like, why is she? It's because she can't read her, maybe because Leia is strong in the Force, so she can't actually read her thoughts like she can for other people. So that's why she's probably convinced Leia's hiding something, and that's why she's trying so hard. Because she goes as far as like to torture. Like this is similar to the kind of stuff Leia was going through in A New Hope, right? So clearly she's been through this before. She's no stranger to torture at the point we see her in the first movie.
See, it also crossed my mind that maybe the whole end game here was to do sort of like Darth Vader on the Death Star, is to track the Millennium Falcon back to the Rebel base. So, all right, so we know that they're going to get off this structure, and then we're going to have the thing on it. Like this would be Reva's plan, because clearly Darth Vader didn't know what the plan was.
Yeah, why wouldn't she tell him, by the way? Why is the tracking device always a surprise?
Right.
It's like it should be standard procedure, right? It should be standard operating procedure. Put a tracking device on everything. They do that in Star Wars quite a bit, and we don't find out about it till the end of the episode. But it's just funny that he has no idea that she's done this, right?
No, he clearly does not. As we see what, and if he did though, then that's a especially bad final sequence. But no, it's a bit unclear what she wants to happen. We broach the horrible subject of, does the Empire torture children? And the answer appears to be yes. That's what the Empire
Given the chance, they will. Yes, they were going to go all the way.
The show will not show us baby Leia being tortured.
No, of course.
Clearly. And I never thought it would. I did not think it would. It's just not. Although it does show us something. We haven't got there yet. But I just didn't expect on Disney Plus to see a little baby Leia sitting in a torture device.
No, yes.
So they took it that far.
They did. Obi-Wan is now. Who is Obi-Wan with? The rest of the people who run this kind of underground railroad, right? Which includes Ice Cube Jr., I believe.
Yes. That is Ice Cube Jr. That is Ice Cube's son, and who at first I thought was Saw Gerrera. I thought he was playing young Saw, but he is not.
No, I don't know what's his name. Do we know his name?
I can't remember what it is now.
Only name I remember from this episode is Wade, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have an argument, but who are these people? Are these like they're the kind of the beginnings? They're just a group like just helping the Jedi escape, right? And he doesn't really want to have any part of it, because obviously he doesn't want to bring the Empire down on them. And she's saying we have to help them. They have this kind of conversation, but they're going to help. They're going to go and save Leia, right?
Now that you've mentioned that, I should say the one bit of criticism that I heard on a couple of podcasts already is that that she's going to be rescued. And that just puts us back to where we already were.
So what's the point of this episode happening? Right, exactly. Well, the point would be to introduce new characters, but I don't think any of these new characters are going to stick around. Certainly not Wade. So they do this kind of thing, and you're right, it is a bit repetitive. They do the standard kind of Star Wars holo map plan. It does feel like a Mandalorian kind of one-off episode, but there are aspects to this I like. Once they get the plan going, I like sneaky Obi-Wan. I liked seeing Ewan McGregor sneaking around, just like Obi-Wan did in the first movie. I love that part of it. So that was a lot of fun.
I like that too. I thought I just like seeing Ewan McGregor doing his thing, and I don't really care what it is. I could just watch him walking through a forest for a whole episode, and it would probably be interesting. But and by the way, the underwater base, is that the base from Fallen Order?
Could be.
Remember when he fights where Darth Vader's chasing him and the water's crashing in?
Yeah, that could be it, because that's also the Inquisitors. This is the Inquisitors base, so this is clearly, I think it's meant to be the same one, because you are fighting the Inquisitors in that game.
I just don't remember enough about it. I just remember that's one of the parts in the finale when you're running through the tube. It's memorable.
Yes.
And the water is flooding everywhere.
I've heard a lot of more talk about that game in recent weeks. People are talking about Fallen Order and replaying it. And I do want this summer. I'm going to actually replay it. I think that'll be my video game to play over the summer is replay Fallen Order and see how that goes and see if I can remember some of this stuff, because I'm sure I really feel like they are tying a lot of this into that year. This is the same era, right? This that 10 years before A New Hope, when the Inquisitors are going out, and it really is like, what is the parallel here? Is this kind of like a Underground Railroad thing? Is this I feel like it's almost like Jews fleeing Nazi Germany kind of a thing? Like, I don't know. It's like, I guess, a lot of different things, right?
Well, the slave trade in the United States is famous for the Underground Railroad,
right?
And I think that's literally what this is harking back to. I think that's the whole idea with that. And I don't know if that is Reva's ultimate goal to find that. I don't know. We'll find out.
There's something going on there. Now, they still haven't made the official reveal that Reva was that person we saw at the beginning of the show, right? We've kind of made that connection, but I think that, so something has happened between them that's kind of made her into this person. We don't know what her ultimate goals are. Like, it can't be just becoming the main Inquisitor, right? She has to be more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still thinking that the stuff she's saying and the stuff she's intending to do might be two different things. I think there might be secrets that are being held back from us because it's not, and not everything is what it seems, perhaps. Maybe it is. Maybe she literally is after the stuff she says out loud. Maybe she is not. And I think, I think there's some indication. And I think maybe because in this episode, what I expected in this episode was, okay, look, here we are. We've got 3 to go. This is where you flesh out her backstory. Is this one? This is where I thought we'd see a flashback to the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. I thought this was the episode, sort of the linchpin episode, that we would then be able to move the story forward on the next episode, but we didn't really get any of it. We definitely didn't get any of that. No. So we still are assuming that Reva is one of those Padawans in the opening scene, and I think that's true. I think she is one of those Padawans. Mm-hmm. But we really don't know. Like, she's abducted. She has brainwashing done to her. She is, I don't know, like. She is also a victim in some way, which she sort of implied when she was talking to Leia. But I mean, this would have been a good episode to sort of see that stuff, and maybe we will see that stuff in the next episode.
Yeah, well, I thought that this was going to I thought we'd get a conversation between Anakin and Obi-Wan, like through the Force. Yeah. We didn't really see that. I was expecting more development, more story here, right? It just doesn't seem like they did enough. Now, there were some good scenes. Like, I will say, the one I like the scene where she has to get past the guard they're at the she has to talk her way in there. And that was kind of a fun. I really didn't know if she was going to get past or not, so that was kind of a fun little scene. And then she kind of BS's her way into the. Which is funny. She's working at the computer station, just minding her own business. The guy's looking over at her, going, "Hell, she's kind of acting weird. No big deal." And then my favorite part is later on when she kills the guy that takes her away and just leaves his body on the floor and just goes back to work, back to the terminal, back to hacking or whatever she was doing. That was awesome. We kind
of avoid the logistics of that in the show, of the where did you go, what happened, you brought him back out, you put him on that thing, what happened? Like, yeah, it was. I thought it was a short episode, so there might have been some room to flesh some of this stuff out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they could have taken more time with this, right? Yeah. It all felt very rushed. And yeah, clearly they had one mission. They want to rescue Leia, but it's like, the other thing is that we have seen this before. We have seen them rescuing Leia before. Although I did like the familiarity of it, and it is a nice environment. The underwater base is fun.
It's one of the better. Yes, it's there's lots of, and I don't want it to sound like I didn't like this episode, because I do like this episode, but there was the underwater base is one of the coolest Empire bases we've seen. Cooler than the bases we've seen in The Mandalorian, I think. So super cool. The underwater everything underwater. It's inconvenient when it comes to having a Jedi Knight running around in there, though, because then, you can imagine what a Jedi Knight could do with the kind of damage a Jedi Knight could do in an underwater lair, which we saw. So I do like that, and I do like the actor from Game of Thrones playing the officer. What's her name?
Her name is Tala. I actually just looked her up. Tala on the show. Indira. Oh, I just had it and then I lost it again. I had it and put it away. Indira Varma. Indira Varma.
She is a good actor.
Oh, she's excellent. Yes.
In every scene, I believe what she is up to, which isn't the case for necessarily every actor in this episode, but for her, I thought, wow, this is a character. I want this character to live on. Keep going, because I like what this character can do. And
it certainly seems that they are building a bond between her and Obi-Wan. They're very familiar. They're becoming closer. I know this is your favorite part of the episode, Kenton, when they just try to sneak Leia out under his coat. I saw you recreated that on TikTok very nicely.
It was my least viewed TikTok in months. My least viewed TikTok in months. Yeah, it just did not, and I think I did it widescreen to make it look like the show, and I don't think the algorithm cares for that. I don't think it likes that, but it wants the full. It wants portrait mode, I think. So no, nobody liked it, but yeah, I do like. I like the oldest Jedi trick is just put the kid in the coat.
And they get a good distance across the hangar. Like, it's funny that nobody says anything. I thought if this is the Mandalorian, I feel like they would have taken that, made a little joke, like somebody would, wait a minute, and taken a double take before Reva walks in there and calls them. But yeah, it was hilarious that they just kind of kept walking. Now, we do see Obi-Wan use the Force more in this episode. He's moving stuff around. He did a little noise. Remember when to distract the stormtroopers at one point? So that was cool. But still not kind of full into his powers yet. Although I like the look. He's wearing the little Imperial hat here. That's kind of a nice look.
Well, he does. We skipped like maybe the biggest money shot.
Oh, what's the money shot?
Yes, episode. The biggest thing that we see, I think, in this episode, the most jaw-dropping moment is when Obi-Wan walks down the hallway o' death. I think there's lots to talk about in that hallway.
Death. Why am I not remembering what this is? When is this?
He walks down the hallway and he looks. How did you miss this?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. What hallway? Take.
This is
before or after he rescues Leia?
Before.
For the hallway. Is this the hallway of death? Oh, is this when he's like, okay, I think I have it. Hold on. It's clearly not as big of a moment as you thought it was.
It's jaw-dropping. It's the biggest moment in the episode.
I don't understand. Okay, tell me why. It's a jaw-dropping moment.
Well, we see dead Jedi encased in amber.
Oh, that thing. I did not think that was jaw-dropping. It was like, what are these? What is this, Jurassic Park? Like, what are these? I don't know.
A child Padawan. Dead, presumably, but maybe alive.
They don't look dead. They don't look dead.
They're motionless.
Well, I suspect they're in suspended animation.
I hope you never see me dead sitting at my desk, because you'll be like, he doesn't look dead. Just let him do his work.
He's fine.
Just let him do his work.
Yeah, this is not no, I did not think this is a jaw-dropping moment at all. I just, fine, they're in amber. Like, what
You're
is
out of your mind.
So I feel like what this is that but this is it does raise some interesting thoughts about what the Empire is doing here. So what do you think the Empire is doing here with this stuff?
Well, I mean, there's lots of questions. This is Jurassic Park. This is the mosquito in amber. So I think they're. I mean, and are they alive or dead? I was hoping they were alive, and we'd get a cabin in the woods moment where he pushes the button, and now he suddenly has a team of angry Jedi Knights who, with Force powers, helping him out. I was like, would be kick ass. I would love to see that. Maybe we still will see that. But I thought that would be cool. We're not sure if they're dead or alive. He says this is like a tomb, so maybe they are dead. It's part of the cloning, probably, or it's a trophy room where they look at all the people that they have captured, that these Inquisitors have captured. It's one or the other. It's one of these things. The Jedi Knights that are frozen there, one of them is from the Clone Wars. The other ones, I don't know. I don't know who they are. One of them, I think the name is Terra Sinube, I think is the name. That's the one with sort of the thin face at the front. The beak, is it a beak almost? And I think that was Ahsoka's in a couple episodes of the Clone Wars, maybe more, I don't remember now, but was like an Ahsoka mentor of some kind. And there's that big burly guy with an axe who's in there. There's a Padawan. There's a woman who they spend a decent amount of time showing encased in the amber. Is that somebody we should recognize? Maybe it's somebody we'll find out about. I just can't help but think we're going to go back there and get them out. But
I don't think they're dead. See, I don't think they're dead. I just kind of assume that if we're going to see them in this kind of their suspended animation, he says it's like a tomb because they're like they're dead, but I don't think they're really dead. Now I wonder if this kid he looks like he's wearing the same helmet that they were wearing at the beginning. So is this like one of Reva's friends from the academy? Do you think that they put on ice?
He almost looks like the kid who was scared in Revenge of the Sith, but I don't think that's the same kid. It's a scared kid, though.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying, which is horrible and terrifying.
Now,
but I don't know. I don't know if this could be one of the friends. And who do they decide? I mean, if she is a former Padawan and she converted to the dark side, is that basically your choice? You convert to the dark side like she did, or you're locked in amber like this kid?
Right. That's right. I think that's what that means. Basically, if you don't convert, you get locked away. And I wouldn't be surprised to learn that if they were like experimenting on them, trying to figure out what the Force is. Maybe they're extracting midichlorians and trying to like clearly the move here. And this is kind of this is a through line through the Mandalorian when we have the whatever Gus Fring is trying to do. I forget what his name is. Mandalorian, like he's trying to do something with the Force as well, right? That's why they wanted Grogu. So this is like a through line. The Empire is always trying to figure out how to use the Force, and this seems to be led by Darth Vader. Really, he's the one who really wants to figure it out, right?
We don't see a science lab or anything though in this episode, so it could just be a trophy room or who knows what. But I want to get those Jedi Knights out, and I thought we were. Yeah. I thought we would. I thought we were going to get them out. So maybe we will. Maybe we still will. But it would have been nice if they would have found the key, like amber melt button, and then all those Jedi just fight the hell out of there. That would have been an amazing scene, and maybe a scene I hope that we still might get to see. They also went, and while we're on the topic of the underwater base, they make it clear at the beginning of the episode, no, our intelligence tells us that Darth Vader isn't there. But so he isn't there, and then he arrives there, or
well, their intelligence isn't very good, clearly. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. Vader goes where he wants, and I don't know if anybody could tell you where he is at any given time.
They put a tracker on him.
Unless they're with him in the room at the time, right? Okay, so there you go. So he goes through his death hallway or whatever. He sees all the and then this is cutting in between. I'm watching the scene now between them about to torture Leia. So they're building the tension. I guess, this is a pretty meaningful scene because he's just going back and forth and seeing all these people. Clearly, he's recognizing these, and yes, he sees the kid here. Yeah.
I thought it might also be an interesting scene. I mean, did they walk Leia down that hallway?
Right.
You know, it's terrifying. It'd be terrifying for a kid.
No kidding.
Okay, so and then when Obi-Wan gets Leia out, we get some more lightsaber goodness. That's a good.
Yeah, good and they're taking out stormtroopers pretty easily, which I like. Like one of the things that I thought was a bit of a cop out of the prequels is how they replaced stormtroopers with the droids, and then so Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor. This is the first time we've really seen him taking down stormtroopers like this, right? Like. He's used to taking down, droids and slicing them in half. Now, I noticed the cuts are like almost always around the mid-body, so I don't know if he's killing them or not. I have to assume they die because they're not motionless. Or they are motionless, and if he gets slashed across the belly, that would be a painful wound. So you think the guy would be writhing in pain or something, unless he's dead.
Unless he's dead.
So yeah, Obi-Wan has no problem killing stormtroopers. That's okay. I have no problem with that.
Well, in A New Hope, he just does the old... I'm going to pretend I'm throwing some rocks over here. I'm going to do the old...
Yeah, like he did in this episode. He did the same thing, right? Yeah, that's what that is. But
yeah, that's a signature move. You'd rather do that. But so he gets Leia out, so that's good.
Yep.
And then we get to the scene, and there are some quick things that happen in this scene too. like when Reva shouts at them, you mentioned that she shouts at them and they turn, and to me, it's like, don't turn around and look at her.
Yeah. What are you doing?
You know what I mean? Just keep going.
Yeah.
You know you're leaving. You don't turn around and go, yeah, what is it? What would you like?
Oh, yes. Hello.
Being a shoplift. Excuse me. Oh, no, you just keep walking. You don't turn around and go, yes. You keep walking. You get the hell out of there.
Now, we do have our friends come to the rescue, Ice Cube Jr. and, I don't know if he was in the ships, but it was the woman and Wade, and we lose Wade. Wade dies. He's like, I'm right behind you. And they make a big deal out of it. I don't know. Why do you think they make such a big deal out of this? That he's like, I'm right behind you, and then Reva just throws a box at him and blows him. But, like, why doesn't she keep going and throw another one? Like, the other ship is right there as they're flying away.
The other one's ahead of it, so maybe it's out of range, whatever. But and they come in and they're on adapted. Well, we called them snow speeders on Hoth, but I think they're air speeders. I think the Ralph McQuarrie drawing of that was an air speeder. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they come in on the air speeders, but they have a mothership too. But we don't see the air speeders leave the mothership. We don't see them go back into the mothership. But we can assume that's
I think we see it go in at the end, don't we? I don't know. Oh no, they're just on the ship. You're right. They're just on the ship.
Yeah, so that was a little. At first, I thought, what are these, like X-wing fighters? Where did they come from? How did they do this? But yeah, you're right, and it's cool when they all fly in and just blow the shit out of everything.
And they do make reference earlier. Obi-Wan says you have a couple of T-46s or whatever. I think that's what these are, right?
Yeah, right.
That's what he's talking about. So yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, we do see them flying to the mothership. We do.
Do we?
Yep. Just like in Knight Rider, flies up the ramp, just like a Knight Rider used to do.
Really? We actually see it. I have no recollection of that.
There you go. Well, I have no recollection of the death hallways, so we don't remember certain things in this
show.
Death
hallway is the reason this episode exists.
Well, probably. You're right. No, now watch them never mention again. That this whole thing is like they're never going to come back to it ever. It's just going to be a side thing. So then they come back and Wade is gone, and this woman is very sad that Wade is gone. They spend a moment here mourning Wade, and then they're off to the next adventure. Now, what happens next? What's going to come in the next episode, do you think?
Well, then we see Lola lights up red, and so we know that
Lola's the tracker. Yes,
Lola's been compromised. And by the way, the pilot that's Pen 15. That's one of the stars of Pen 15.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay.
That's finally she shows up after being listed in the credits from episode 1. She finally shows
she must
up.
have a more significant role than just this one episode, if that's the case, right?
Name actors are willing to do cameo roles in Star Wars, so you just don't know. You don't know if you're ever going to see people again. Like how about Zach Braff? We'll never see him again. He got killed. Trump supporting a cab driver.
But that's fine. That's all he wanted to do, right?
So you just don't know with actors on this show if they're going to be around for a while or if they're not going to be. Mm-hmm. But it was good to see her. I would not have recognized her unless I knew that she was going to be in one of these episodes. So I had my eyes peeled. So they finish their mission and off they go to the next stop. There's only 2 episodes left, and I don't know. There's not a lot of time. I don't know what we're going to see in those last 2 episodes. We're going to see a rematch with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. That'll be the last episode. Mm-hmm. We're going to see a return to Tatooine, which I assume will be the last episode. We're going to see Leia get back to Alderaan, which I assume will be the last episode. There's a lot to do here.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and none of it seems to be coming in the next episode. It's all in the, but quite often the second to last episode is the best one. So I suspect we're gonna have a really good episode next week. I can't imagine what they would do next, because again, I think we should have we have to have a conversation. Somebody tweeted, or maybe it was on TikTok. Somebody said we're gonna get like a youthified Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker in a Force vision conversation kind of thing. I think we have to have that at some point before they actually meet in person.
I would have said so if we'd, but at this point, I'm not sure. Just like a Clone Wars a flashback, I thought for sure we'd get it. But at this point in the show, it's starting to get late in the day for something like that.
But then why make it such a big deal for it to be Hayden Christensen? Because otherwise, it's just a guy in a suit. It's James Earl Jones again. So what is and by the way, is it Hayden Christensen in the suit for all these scenes? Are they shooting with him in the suit? Or they get another guy?
There'll be some degree of stuntmen happening in there for sure, right. But I remember that in Revenge of the Sith, he had it in his contract that he wears the suit.
Okay.
That was part of the deal.
Okay, yeah. He's not going to make the same mistake David Prowse made.
No, he's not going to make that mistake. That's right.
David Prowse should have said, in his contract that I am the voice. That's all he needed to do is say I'm the voice. But of course, it never occurred to him that they would dump him out, right?
No, it didn't. He didn't think so. So I don't know about that. Just like last week, I was pretty sure they was going to go to Dagobah to see Yoda.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so anymore.
That's the other thing. We have to get Qui-Gon at some point. Yeah. We have to get Qui-Gon. So that could be the last. That could be this episode, and then we save all that other stuff for the next episode.
Here's the thing. Does Qui-Gon appear right before or during a lightsaber battle, or does Qui-Gon appear beforehand?
I think it has to be before.
I thought so too. So we got to have that. There's something else that happened. You just reminded me. Something else that I thought that they have to watch out is that up until this episode, Leia only ever heard him called Ben Kenobi. Ben Kenobi. And so we could say, oh, Obi-Wan, she doesn't know Obi-Wan and Ben are one and the same. She doesn't know. It's confusing. But in this episode, Reva said, Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead. She said to Leia. So now Leia knows Obi-Wan Kenobi. So at some point we have to do something about that. We have to do something about Leia in Return of the Jedi says, I have images of my mother. And Luke's like, I have no memory of my mother at all. So at some point, Obi-Wan Kenobi has to plant those memories in Leia's head or something. He's got to do, don't you think so? He's got to do some force. It's like the Vulcan mind meld. Can you make somebody forget certain things and remember other things?
That made me forget. Yes. That's what I thought. I thought they would have to wipe her memory to make it make sense that she doesn't remember any of this crap, right? Because you think at some point it would come up.
Well, and there's gonna be. I mean, they memory wiped R2D2 and C3PO at the end of Revenge of the Sith. There could be some version of that happens with Leia that Obi-Wan Kenobi does by using the Force or something. So I think there's got to be something like that we're going to see. I don't think that Obi-Wan Kenobi will meet young Leia ever again after this season. I think if they do a second season of Obi-Wan, I don't think it'll ever happen again. So there's got to be some resolution to that. I no longer think he's going to go to Dagobah, which might mean he will for sure go to Dagobah in the next episode because it keeps flipping what I'm expecting to happen. But Qui-Gon, I want to see Qui-Gon. I just don't want to hear him. So I think, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be like, run, Luke, run. I don't want that.
Oh, I see. I want it to be
actual
Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to do that. I think that has to be the case.
At the end of the last Star Wars movie, I can't even think of the name of it, Rise of Skywalker, when you hear the voices of all the Jedi, I was like, what would have been kick-ass is to see those Jedi as ghosts raise up our victor, and only with their combined force power can this challenge be overcome. That would have been probably a kick-ass, incredible scene and the best way to wrap up that Skywalker trilogy. But instead of that, we just heard voices, and it just wasn't. It was one of those.
You can't even really tell who the voices are, really. Like, just like kind of can pick them out. So you're right. I agree.
Show us the ghost, and you're right about. I like where you're going with the Hayden Christensen ghost. Like, there's got to be some, and I know in Force Awakens they were toying in the concept art, toying with it's like a flickering flame. You see dark side Anakin with light side, and they're
I get it. Yeah.
Flipping. It's like
we never do see a dark side person.
Right.
But he's not dead yet. He's not dead. That's the thing. But the other thing, here's the thing that really I'm questioning is that we have 2 episodes left, but we know at the end of this that Obi-Wan goes back to Tatooine and Darth goes back to being Darth Vader, and they both go back on their way before the first movie starts. So how does that end? How do they end? Because they're right now, basically Darth Vader is out to torture Obi-Wan and make him feel all the pain. And here's one thing I really love is how they are showing him just all the negative emotions. He just goes all in. He's hate and he's anger and all the that's what fuels the dark side, right? So that's why he's full on Always angry. And I think that's why Reva does it as well. Reva is always angry and always like, using these negative emotions to fuel her force powers. And so I just don't know how is that going to be resolved between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, because the next time they meet, it's not as spectacular, but something has to happen there.
Well, he says in the New Hope, he says, "When I left you, I was but a learner, but now I am the master." And so that implies that Obi-Wan will again hand him his ass in some way, and there has to be a reason he doesn't just outright kill him this time. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
I don't think he ever wanted. Well, yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. But then how does But now that he knows now that Darth Vader knows, well, I guess Darth Vader always knew that Obi-Wan was alive, didn't he? Or not?
Tarkin says surely he's dead by now.
Is that right?
He says in New Hope.
Okay.
And Darth Vader said he's not dead. Blah blah blah. Like Darth Vader knows that Obi-Wan is around. He can tell by the Force.
Right.
So he knows. But there's lots of questions around that whole conversation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle all of this. There's a lot of loose ends. And what I don't want is a J.J. Abrams, just trust me on this and throw everything but the kitchen sink all at once in the last, 20 minutes or something. I'd like this sort of fleshed out in a way that's, entertaining, but at the same time doesn't make us go, well, oh, and how about the dead Grand Inquisitor, who's probably not dead? Okay, that guy going to show up? Are they going to kill Reva? Are they going to lock her in amber? I thought locking her in amber is now a possibility.
True.
They're like the whole Inquisitor storyline. Is there a satisfying conclusion there as well? And I don't know. Maybe if they end up doing a season 2, who knows? They might leave some of these loose ends. They might announce on the day of the last episode that there's a season 2.
Like, it does seem like they're building out a bigger world here, right? With all this stuff about the underground and that. So, there could be, but there also could be, again, building a bigger world for comic books or for novels or for something else. It doesn't have to be necessarily in form of a Disney Plus series. But you're right. There's something more coming there, I think. You're right.
Yeah, there has to be. I just think, I think what we just talked about was all, man, there may be more that we haven't thought about, but there's all these loose ends. Oh, and then of course the Tatooine loose ends. We haven't seen Tatooine since the episode.
I don't think he's gonna get back there at the end, and we're gonna see him watching Luke, and that's gonna be the final shot. That's the only time we're gonna see Tatooine again.
No, they have to, and the reason they have to is because Aunt Beru is credited. The actress who plays Aunt Beru has a credit.
Well, wasn't she in the first episode though?
No.
Oh, she wasn't? Okay.
No, you don't get a credit unless they're not putting her in unless she has at least one speaking line.
I don't know. I mean, but wasn't that one of the first things that broke about this series is that those two actors were cast again in the roles they played in the original movies, right? Yeah. It was what's his name, and I don't know who plays Beru, but that's a bit of a cop out.
Bonnie someone.
So then it's going to be a conversation with her and Obi-Wan saying, "It's okay, Obi-Wan. Next time, give me the toy and I'll give it to him." She's gonna.
Oh, she will give him the toy. Oh yeah, that's what we'll see. Well done. She will.
Yeah.
She'll give him the toy. Yeah, that's good. Because remember, Beru is the one sort of the tempering influence on Owen.
She's like, he's not going to, like, in the original film, she's like, he's too much like his father, right? And he's like, that's what I'm afraid of, because he's going to grow up and become a murderous person.
I forgot about the toy storyline. Very good. Very
well,
good.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I just thought of one other thing.
What's that?
He'll rebury the lightsabers. He'll rebury them again.
Well, but he has it with me. When Luke goes to see him in the first film, he has it he doesn't go out to dig it up and come back. So I think he keeps it on scene on property. Keeps it with him nearby just in case, right? Now he knows.
Right. Is that the last loose end we can think of? Oh, and what will happen to Lola, the droid?
God, I thought Lola was done. There's that scene where Reva's like holding it, and I thought for sure she was just gonna crush it in her hands just to show. So what else could you do with that thing? But no, she's going to put a tracking device on it. And I don't know what's the difference between, I guess that means that they're always going to be able to track Leia, not the ship. Because when you put the tracking device on the ship, then they're going to walk away and forget about it. But honestly, all they really need to know is what planet does she go to, and then they can go there, right? So, I don't know.
Well, all of this to be answered in only 2 more episodes.
Right.
So what?
But it could be hour and a half long episodes for all we know. So
no, they will not be over an hour, is my guess. Maybe the last one, if anyone is, it might be that one. All right. But it'll be interesting to watch this whole thing as though it's a movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I think in terms of a film, like we get, 6 hours in the original Star Wars trilogy, probably a little bit longer than that. But this is like 6 hours in one series. Like, this is, as much content as we got from the first 3 films. So I think that's excellent. And,
we kind of nitpick, us and everybody kind of nitpicks through these episodes of Star Wars. But it is new Star Wars, and it's more than we ever could have believed that we would ever get. With Cassian Andor on the doorstep at the same time.
Yeah, that's coming up soon, right? Couple months.
Yeah, so it's more Star Wars more often, and nitpicking is just because we're Star Wars fans, not because we want less Star Wars. No, it's not because we want less. More. Give us more.
I saw an interesting piece, and I didn't have time to read it, but it was about the streaming wars. We might have to have a discussion about it on Media Nerds, about how this is now the summer blockbuster series is now the thing. So we have this, we have Netflix, we have Stranger Things, we have all these big series coming down, and there's a bunch of new ones coming. I think we have the next season of Umbrella Academies next week. So the summer series is now the thing. It's not the summer blockbuster movie anymore. It's a streaming series to stay in on the weekend and watch all weekend long, or whatever you do, right?
There's so much out there right now. It's almost ridiculous. I haven't even watched a minute of Stranger Things.
Neither have I.
I'll get around to it. But I did watch The Boys. And
I did too, and they grossed me out almost immediately. I can't get that image out of my head.
It is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that's a nice.
I hope they got that out of the way. They're not gonna up the gross out game after that one scene, because that was just oh man.
That was a nice way to scare away people who aren't going to enjoy the show. That's a good way to show them you're not going to enjoy this. Okay, 1 second.
This is only for the fans. This is don't keep watching this. Yeah, but no, it's great. It's hilarious. I love it. That it's so funny, and I really want to see where this goes. You have to keep watching at this point. You can't turn away. So yeah, there's that. There's all kinds of stuff on. And
let's not forget, when Obi-Wan Kenobi's over, the end of Better Call Saul, the second half of the finale. Oh, there's so much out there too.
Oh, it's gonna be a fun summer. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
This had better work. Where did you dig up that old fossil? That's no moon.
Now I